Hello. Today I want to take you on a journey. Not just any journey. This is a journey into learning English, but not in a boring way. This is the story of how I became someone who loves the English language. And I promise, if you follow me, you will start to love it too. It all began on a rainy day. I was sitting in my room, looking outside the window. I had just finished school, and I had a dream. I wanted to travel. I wanted to talk to people from other countries. I wanted to understand songs, films, and stories in English. But there was a problem. My English was very bad. I could say only a few words. I didn't understand people when they talked fast. I didn't even like English very much. It was difficult and confusing. But something happened that day. I opened my phone and watched a video. A man was telling a story in English. His voice was calm and slow. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the story. He was talking about his dog. A funny dog that liked to steal shoes. I laughed. I smiled. And in that moment, I felt something new. I felt that English could be fun. So the next day, I listened again. A new story. This one was about a girl who got lost in the city. She asked people for help. She found her way. And I realized that I was doing the same. I was lost in the world of English. But if I kept asking, if I kept listening, maybe I would find my way too. From that day, I listened to English every morning. I made it part of my life. I listened when I brushed my teeth. I listened when I walked to school. I didn't stop, even when I didn't understand. Slowly, very slowly, things changed. My ears began to hear words more clearly. I started to guess meanings. I repeated words to myself. I remember one morning clearly. I was brushing my teeth, and I heard the word breakfast in a video. I didn't know what it meant. But the man was talking about eggs and bread. So I guessed. And I was right. That day, I used the word at home. I said to my mom, "I want breakfast." She looked surprised. But I was proud. I had learned a new word, not from a book, not from a list, but from real life. Soon, I wanted to say more things. I started talking to myself. Yes, it sounds strange. But I said things like, "I am happy," or "It is sunny today." I said them in the mirror. At first, it was hard. I had to think. I had to translate. But little by little, the words came faster. I didn't always say them right. But I didn't care. I was speaking. And that felt amazing. One day, I walked past a tourist in my town. He looked lost. I stopped and said, "Do you need help?" He smiled and said yes. We talked for 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. But they changed everything. I helped someone. In English. That was the day I knew. I knew that I wanted to get better. I wanted to speak more. I wanted to be brave. After that, I began to write. Not big things. Just small notes. I wrote about my day. About my dreams. About my cat. I didn't worry about mistakes. I wrote because I wanted to see my English on paper. I had a notebook just for that. I wrote in it every night before bed. Sometimes just a few sentences. But it helped. Writing made me see what I knew. And what I needed to learn. Then came reading. I was afraid at first. Books looked big. Words looked hard. But I found a small book in English. It was a story about a boy and his bicycle. I read the first page. Slowly. Then again. And again. I didn't understand everything. But I wanted to know more. So I kept reading. That book took me 5 days to finish. But when I closed it, I was different. I had learned 10 new words. I had felt every word with my heart. I had lived in English for 5 days. That feeling was special. I started reading more. Only short stories. Only things I liked. I didn't force myself. I just enjoyed it. And because I enjoyed it, I kept going. And because I kept going, I improved. It felt like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was just love. Love for the language. The most important thing I learned in those first weeks was this. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be interested. You just need to enjoy one word, one sentence, one smile. And slowly, English becomes part of you. Every morning became a chance to learn something new. I woke up with a goal. Just one word. One new word a day. That was all. Some days it was easy. Some days it was not. But I made it fun. If I learned the word apple, I ate an apple. If I learned the word walk, I went for a walk and said the word again and again. I connected words to my life. That helped me remember them. Soon I had another idea. I wanted to watch cartoons. English cartoons. At first, I used subtitles. I read the words as I listened. I paused when I didn't understand. I repeated sentences. I even copied the characters. I said things like, "Let's go," or, "That's funny." My family thought I was crazy. But I was learning. I was smiling. I was having fun. Then I found songs. Songs are full of emotions. Songs help you feel the language. I listened to a song called, "You Are Not Alone." It made me cry. But I loved it. I wrote down the lyrics. I looked up the words. I sang with the singer. My voice was not good, but my heart was full. Music helped me understand English in a new way. One evening, I sat down and asked myself, what is my dream? I closed my eyes. I saw myself on a plane. I saw myself in a new city. I saw myself talking to people, laughing, learning, sharing. All in English. That dream became my reason. I needed a reason to keep going. I think everyone needs a reason. A strong reason helps you on the hard days. And there were hard days. Some days, I felt tired. I didn't want to learn anything. I made mistakes and felt stupid. I forgot easy words. I felt like I was going backwards. But I didn't stop. I told myself, it's okay. I took a break. I went outside. I looked at the sky and said one word. Just one. That was enough. Then I came back the next day. I also talked to people online. I found a group of learners like me. We spoke once a week. At first, I was nervous. My voice shook. I didn't know what to say. But the other learners were kind. They made mistakes too. We helped each other. We laughed together. That group made me brave. Speaking became easier. Even when I made mistakes, I kept going. One day, I made a friend named Anna. She was from Brazil. Her English was better than mine, but she always helped me. We talked about food, weather, dreams, and books. We talked every weekend. Sometimes we played word games. Sometimes we just asked each other questions. With Anna, I didn't feel afraid. She never laughed at my mistakes. She corrected me kindly. I did the same for her. She became part of my English world. After a few months, I noticed something amazing. I was thinking in English. Not always, not every moment, but sometimes. I looked at the rain and said to myself, it's a rainy day. I heard a song and thought, this song is beautiful. I didn't translate. The words came by themselves. That was one of the best feelings in my journey. Then I started recording my voice. I read short texts aloud. I recorded them. I listened. At first, I didn't like my voice. It sounded strange. But I listened again. I heard my mistakes. I heard my progress. I started to speak with more confidence. I used more emotion. I told stories. I listened again. This helped my pronunciation. And it helped me feel like an English speaker. One Saturday, I wrote a story in English. It was simple. Just one page. It was about a cat and a box. But it was mine. My story. I showed it to my group. They liked it. They even asked me to write another one. I felt proud. Writing stories helped me see how much I had learned. And it made learning more creative. Later, I made flashcards. I used small pieces of paper. On one side I wrote the word. On the other side, I drew a picture or wrote the meaning. I carried them with me. On the bus, in a line, during lunch, I looked at my flashcards. They became my little friends. Each one held a new part of the language. Each one helped me grow. My world was changing. English was not just a subject. It was part of my day. It was part of my heart. I was not perfect. I still made mistakes. I still forgot things. But I was on the road. And every step felt like a small victory. I remember one moment clearly. I was at a market. A tourist asked for help. She didn't speak my language. So I spoke English. I told her where to go. She said, "Thank you. Your English is very good." I smiled. I walked away, and I almost cried. Not because she said I was good. But because I knew that I could help someone. I could connect. I had done it. After that moment in the market, something changed in me. I began to believe. Not just hope, but truly believe that I could speak English well. Not someday, but soon. That belief gave me energy. It gave me power. I was not afraid anymore. I was excited. So I decided to try something new. I joined a short online course. It was called English in Real Life. The teacher was from Canada. She smiled a lot. She spoke clearly and slowly. The best part was that she didn't teach like in school. She didn't give big grammar rules. She told us to speak. She told us to listen. She told us to live the language. That made sense to me. In the course, we had a challenge. Every day, we had to record a 1-minute video. We had to speak about one topic. It could be anything. The weather. A dream. A memory. At first, I was nervous. I didn't like the camera. But I told myself, be brave. So I did it. 1 minute, one idea, one try. When I finished my first video, I felt proud. I said simple things, but they were my words. I shared my video with the group. And the group was amazing. They said kind things. One person wrote, "I love your smile." Another said, "Good job with your pronunciation." I smiled. I felt warm inside. That was the magic of learning together. Every day, I made a new video. I spoke about my favorite food. I spoke about my weekend. I even told a joke in English. Some videos were better than others. Some days I spoke fast. Some days I forgot words. But I never stopped. After 10 days, I had 10 videos. And each one was a little better than the last. After the course, I decided to keep going. I made one video each week. I posted them online. Sometimes people watched. Sometimes they didn't. But that was okay. The videos were for me. They showed me my progress. They helped me hear my voice. And they helped me feel like my English had a place in the world. Then one day, I had an idea. I wanted to start a small English club. Just a few people. Just to talk. I asked some friends from my course. They said yes. We met every Sunday on video call. We called it Tea and Talk. No lessons. No homework. Just real talk. We brought tea, we brought snacks, and we brought our hearts. Our talks were simple. We talked about pets, food, travel, and dreams. Sometimes we played games. One time, we played Describe and Guess. One person described something without saying the word, and the others had to guess. It was fun. We laughed a lot. But we also learned. Every game gave us new words. Every smile gave us new courage. I remember one Sunday very clearly. It was raining outside. My internet was slow. My voice broke sometimes. But we still had our talk. That day we spoke about childhood. I told a story about my first bicycle. Anna told a story about her school. Another friend from Japan told us about her favorite cartoon. We were all different. But English brought us together. I realized something important. Learning English is not only about words. It is about people. It is about connection. When we speak English, we open doors. We share our world. We learn about others. And they learn about us. After a few months, I felt stronger. I wanted to test myself. So I joined an English event in my city. It was called English Cafe. People met in a real cafe to speak English. I was nervous. Very nervous. But I went. I walked in, ordered tea, and sat down. There were people from many countries. Some were learners like me. Some were native speakers. We sat in small groups. We introduced ourselves. We talked. At first, I said very little. Just my name, my hobby, my favorite food. But after a while, I started to ask questions. I started to smile more. I started to relax. I met a woman from the UK. Her name was Lucy. She was kind and patient. We talked about books. She told me about her favorite writer. I listened. Then I told her about the book I read about the boy and the bicycle. She smiled. She said, "You tell stories very well." That sentence stayed in my heart. I went home that night and wrote in my journal. I wrote, "Today I spoke English with a native speaker. She understood me. I understood her. We had a real talk. I am proud." I read that line again and again. It was a simple moment, but it meant the world to me. From that day, I went to the English cafe every month. Each time I met new people. Each time I learned something new. And each time, I felt a little more like myself in English. I didn't try to be perfect. I just tried to be present. And that made all the difference. The more I used English, the more natural it became. It was not something outside of me anymore. It was inside my daily life. I didn't need a book to tell me what to say. I just needed to feel. If I felt happy, I said it. If I felt tired, I said it. English was no longer just a subject. It was my voice. One day, something big happened. My school invited students to give a short speech in English. The best speech would be shared on the school's website. When I saw the notice, I felt two things. Fear and excitement. I had never spoken English in front of many people. But I remembered my videos. I remembered tea and talk. I remembered Lucy at the English cafe. So I said yes. For 2 days, I thought about what to say. I wanted my words to be true. I wanted people to feel something. In the end, I wrote about my journey. I wrote about the rainy day when I watched a video about a dog. I wrote about singing sad songs, writing in my notebook, and talking to a lost tourist. I kept the words simple. I used my own voice. I practiced again and again. When the day came, I stood in front of my class. My hands were cold. My heart was loud. But I looked at the people in the room. I smiled. And I began. "Hello," I said. "My name is Daniel. And this is my English story." I told them everything. I didn't rush. I didn't hide. I spoke clearly. I spoke honestly. And when I finished, there was silence. Then there was clapping. Real clapping. Loud and full. One of the teachers even stood up. She said, "Thank you. That was beautiful." I felt like flying. After the speech, many students came to talk to me. Some said, "I feel the same." Others said, "You gave me hope." One boy said, "I didn't like English before, but now I want to try." That moment was not about winning. It was about sharing. It was about lighting a small fire in someone else. And yes, the school chose my speech. They put it on the website. My photo was there. My name. My story. My English. I showed it to my family. My mom cried. My dad gave me a high five. My little brother said, "You're famous now." I just laughed. I was happy, not because of the attention, but because I knew how far I had come. I looked back at where it all started. Just a few months ago, I could only say a few words. I was afraid. I was unsure. But now, I could speak, write, listen, and even tell stories. I was not perfect. But I was real. I was ready. That's when I started to help others. I joined an online group of beginners. People who were just starting their English journey. I answered questions. I shared ideas. I told them about listening to stories, repeating words, singing songs, making mistakes. I told them not to give up. I became a voice that said, "Yes, you can." I learned something important from that. When you help others, you grow too. When you teach a word, you remember it better. When you listen to someone else's fear, you become braver yourself. I was still learning, but now I was also teaching. And that made everything stronger. Later, I traveled to another country. It was a short trip. Just 4 days. But I used English the whole time. At the airport. At the hotel. At the shops. I asked questions. I understood answers. I made friends. I even helped another traveler who lost her bag. We laughed about it later. English made that friendship possible. On the flight home, I looked out the window. I thought about my journey. I smiled. I was proud of every small step. Every word I whispered. Every sentence I said out loud. Every song I sang. Every mistake I made. Every time I said, I can. Now, when someone asks me how to learn English, I say this. Start with one word. Just one. Say it. Feel it. Use it. Then find another. Make it part of your life. Listen with your heart. Speak with courage. Write your thoughts. Read things you love. Play. Sing. Laugh. Don't worry about mistakes. They are part of the road. The important thing is to walk. Slowly, quickly, happily. But walk. And never forget, English is not just grammar and rules. It's a way to share your world. It's a way to connect. It's a way to grow. That's my story. It's not special. It's just real. And if I can do it, so can you. So take a deep breath. Smile. And say your first word. Say it like it matters. Because it does. Welcome to your English journey. Thank you for listening to this story. If you liked it, write about it in the comments and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new stories.